thy soul desire to eat flesh, thou mayest eat flesh after all the desires of thy soul. If the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to put his name, there be too far from thee, then thou shalt kill of the herd and of thy flock, which the Lord hath given thee, as I have commanded thee, and thou shalt eat within thy gates after all the desires of thy soul. Howbeit, as the gazelle and as the hart is eaten, so thou shalt eat thereof. The unclean and the clean may eat thereof alike.
All right. So basically, I just want to go back to the point of the Levites. Now, today we don't have that situation where we have Levites within our gates or within the community because we're in captivity. But still, we need to understand that. So what we have, the Levites' job was to take care of the temple. So what we now have are synagogues and places of worship. So, and that is why we still bring whatever tithes and offerings we can to the synagogue. So it's not like we're really supporting a Levite, but the Leviim and the Kohanim was an institution that served the nation. And this is still happening today. It may not be the actual sons of Aaron that are here because, as we know, we've been scattered. But still, we're using that same principle of having these institutions that serve the people. And the people basically was who supported that institution. And that's why it's still important.
I know in Israel they do eat that. The Levites are stores, they don't work, and they do get support by the government. And it's a big old problem in Israel now because of that. Because they believe in that law.
Okay.
They are supposed to be supported. And even in the Orthodox communities, they have that same law.
Yeah, what I was talking about usin. Usin ain't doing that. Some people are doing that. You know, but I'm talking to Israel, right? I'm talking to Israel. So, but you do have a point. There are people that are trying to do that, but that doesn't negate the fact that we ain't doing that. But we are trying the best we can. The way we do that is by supporting our synagogues. Make sure the lights are on, we have heat, we have cool air, and all the things where we can come and worship the way we worship. Because if we worship in somebody else's house, we have to worship the way they worship. They will put restrictions on us. But when we can support our own and do our own thing, we can be ourselves and we can be as happy as we want. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Okay, what verse you had?
23.
Yeah, okay, he has a point.
22, the last portion is, as my people interpreted it, saying that the Most High allowed us.
Yeah, that was
Is he allowing us to eat the clean and the unclean? I thought it was person that's unclean and clean
That's what I wanted
people.
to know.
I could be wrong, but I can't be wrong in that one. We're not supposed to eat clean and
You
unclean.
got to break that down and later.
No, but let's deal with the question now. Because later on I get sometimes, I get sidetracked. All right, 1 second. So basically, my interpretation is that, somebody can become unclean. If you were touching something, you're unclean. Well, there's some places where both people, clean and unclean, can eat because this is not in the sanctuary. There are some places where if you're unclean, you are not allowed in there. So in this particular case, this is where it's permissible. So everything is not always rigid. There's always room for, there's a time and place for everything. So everything has, depending on what the situation is. So good, you had a question?
Oh, I was just
Or comment?
Because when I first read it, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
But it just means the person.
Yeah.
People being clean, not
I know.
Yeah. I was confused too. I was like, but I had to, think a little bit. So that's why the questions that you raised, you're probably not the only one that, seeing it that way.
I saw it go away, but I
Yeah.
didn't hear someone else.
Yeah, that's how I interpret it, because as we continue to read, it's going to be very clear as to what you can eat and what you can't eat. And he didn't say you can't eat that during this month or that month. Only time we have eating restrictions of certain food is during Pesach. But other than that, but it was still clean food. It's just that at that particular time you can't have it because Most High said so. To put it simple. But it also shows you, of course, not just because He took us out of Egypt and we didn't have time to cook, the bread, let it rise and everything. So as a commemoration to that, we're doing that. But even if we didn't understand it, if the Most High said so, that's basically all we need to go by. But it's good to understand. Yes?
I like to just point out that when I say 8 or more, it's going to break down in the first to 13
Yes.
The animals that you can eat. So it's not going to contradict itself.
No, no.
That you can
No, it's
eat.
not.
So I think that's a good point that you brought out. To clarify
I
it.
just wanted to,
Yeah, that was a good point.
I think we have to split it open. Because I think
Yeah, we're going to touch on that a little bit. Okay, what verse we at?
23.
23, okay.
Only be steadfast in not eating the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou shalt not eat the life with the flesh.
Right. So we know some people like their steaks rare or raw, right? So where it's actually dripping. And if you're an Israelite, you're like, no, I ain't down with that. But we do know that we've seen, at least I've seen rituals on TV, not live, where they actually drink the blood. And that's part of the ritual, and that's the hocus pocus stuff, which is definitely what the Most High is telling us not to do. Because as we're going into the land, the people that inhabited those lands, they had some very abominable ways. And that's why the Most High said, I don't want any of those things that you do, don't follow after them, because those are abominations. The Most High hates that. And of course, as we read or learn a little bit of science, and we learn about biology and all the things, we realize that the blood can make you sick, especially if you have a sick animal. So, it's not the thing to do. And also he says, because there's a spiritual connection to it, that the blood is the life of the animal. So it's not only physical, but it's also there's a spiritual aspect that the Most High doesn't want us to get. Because once we ingest that, these things have a way of affecting not just the body, but our psyche as well. So that's why, everything that's here in this book, there's a good reason for it. Not only physical, but spiritual as well. And things we don't even understand. Or at least I don't understand. Let me talk for myself. But go ahead.
Verse 24. Thou shalt not eat it, thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord.
Right. So everything that you do doesn't only affect you. It affects your family, your kids, and their kids. Because a lot of us are carrying baggage from what generations ago. And of course we're trying to break the cycle. And of course by doing the law, it's part of a way of making us whole again when we do the law. If we really get into it and take the time to meditate and understand what it is that we're doing and why we're doing that, it makes us whole. All right, continue.
Verse 26. Only thy holy things which thou hast, and thy vows that shall take, and go unto the place which the Lord shall choose. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood upon the altar of the Lord thy God. And the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out against the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. Observe and hear all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the eyes of the Lord thy God.
Right. So all these things he's asking you to do, that's you benefiting. I'm benefiting. It's not for the Most High, although he, like I say, the Most High don't really need us. We need him. And he's laid a law for us that is good for us. That's going to build us up and not tear us down. Okay, continue.
29. When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whether thou goest in to dispossess them, and thou dispossessest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself, that thou be not ensnared to follow them, after that they are destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their God, saying, how use these nations to serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise.
Right. So basically what the Most High is saying, or at least we've read, is that he's taking these people out because of what they're doing, of the abominations that they're doing. So when you go in there, and if you're trying to do what they do, you're going to have the same fate. And which, by the way, history tells it, that we did go in there, we did start off well, but then we kind of got away from it, and that's why we are here now talking about we want to go back home. That's because we didn't take heed to what these words are saying. So these are not just words. They are actually, somebody help me out. They are actually, it's right, it's history, but also a forecast.
Amen.
It's a command, yes, it's a command, but it's also a forecast of what's going to happen to us, and a prediction. Right, this is also a prediction that if, pardon me? Admonishment, correct. So we have to be careful not to follow after the nation. So that advice was good back then, when Moses gave to the children of Israel before they went into the land. And this advice is still good and it's still applicable, because right here, right now, where we're living amongst people that have strange ways that are abominable to the Most High God. And he's telling us this is a trap, because they make it look so enticing, they make it look so good that you want, oh, I want some of that. But it's a trap. Don't fall for the okey doke.
I heard that on the advertisement that the rare and the feeding the blood of an animal is good and healthy. They teach contrary to the Torah, and people will buy into it and have doctors sign on it. Like the saying that make you feel that, oh, all of a sudden you can eat rare meat. It's better for you to eat it. And it's contrary to Torah. Don't buy into it.
Right. Yeah, that is one example. But it seems like everything else they're doing is contrary to the law. And what makes it so difficult too is that there might be some financial gains for you if you do these things. Because we see some of these stars, they pretty much sell their soul as far as I'm concerned. Yes, they're good artists. I like some of their music. You catch me tapping my feet and swaying back and maybe even do a spin or whatever. But if you really listen to the words, they're devastating words. I mean, they're negative, very negative, but it sounds so good that you fall into the trap. All right, so, all right, we have a few more lines, and then I'm going to ask a brother here to read the next page. You don't mind, read? Yeah. Well, go ahead, let's finish this up.
31.
We're not changing slow or Gabbi Shlomo because he's not doing a good job. He's doing a very good job reading. It's just that we want to get other people. Wow, you're doing great. Continue.
So now, once I pause this. Alright. 31, verse 31. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth, have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters do they burn in the fire to their gods.
Right. That's the ultimate. I mean, I don't think you could do anything worse than that. Maybe they are, but that's. You just come up here. Come here. Yeah, he has the page. He's been following along. Very diligent. All right, so we're at chapter 13.
Reading Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 1. All this word which I command you, that shall ye observe to do, thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. If there arise in the midst of thee a prophet, or a dreamer of dreams, that he give thee a sign or a wonder.
Right. Hold on. Before, let me deal with the first thing. Thou shalt not add or diminish from it. Can anybody give me an example, Bina, of how people add to the law? Yeah. Yeah. Do you hear what he said? All right, can you say it to everybody? Although I did call Bina back, since you started, go ahead, you may finish so everybody can hear you. Yeah.
The Jews added a lot to the law that were prohibited to add anything to the law. They added fast days, which are total violation of adding to the law. They added days of celibacy, 7 days, which caused tremendous adultery amongst many people.
Okay, what he's saying is,
They did.
there are certain extra stuff that's not in here, and so that is a good example. Do you have another example, Sister Bina? Tamar?
Yeah, they had 2 days of Rosh Hashanah.
Well, that's what he
That
said.
was his day.
Yeah, that's what he said.
But
Oh, you didn't hear? That's what he's saying. They added days to the holy days, which. And so, what about diminishing? Is that an example of where to take away something from doing it? Can you think of something? Where? Okay.
The lure of kosher is amazing, sheds love, not to hurt an animal. Right? Many of the Orthodox Jews eat caged animals and veal, which is punishment to the animal. That's a violation of the law.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Olive? Okay. So, I'm not going to say it's just the Orthodox that do that. I think people in general are doing that, and you're right. Cruelty to animals is not good. Matter of fact, if you see how they treat the animals, you might want to become a vegetarian, because it is inhumane what they do. I'm not ready to jump on that bandwagon because I need meat, seriously. I feel like my body needs it. If I can find a substitute to that, I would gladly do that. But I do not eat red meat for the most part. Maybe once in a while I might have a piece, but I try not to. So yes, we do have to be conscious of what we eat. Again, it goes back to the blood. When you take the blood in, it's not right. So you gotta be careful. Yeah, we definitely don't eat the blood, but that's what he was saying. It was admonishing us not to eat the blood for that reason. But also, the gentleman that went into another aspect which doesn't mention it, but it is actually correct. Right, continue?
Yes, Devarim, chapter 13, verse 3. And the sign, or the sign of the wonder come to pass, whereof he spoke unto these things. Let us go after other gods which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the word of that prophet, or unto that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God putteth you to proof, to know whether ye do love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul.
Right. So basically, you might know somebody that can have a dream and something come true. I'm sure you met people like that. And the thing is, even if they're a person of a high stature in the community, if they say something to you that's going to turn you away from the Most High God, do not listen to them, regardless of who they are. All right, continue.
Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 5. After the Lord your God shall he walk, and him shall ye fear, and his commandments shall ye keep, and unto his voice shall ye hearken, and him shall ye serve, and unto him shall ye cleave. And that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, shall be put to death, because he has spoken perversion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed thee out of the house of bondage, to draw thee aside out of the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put away the evil from the midst of thee. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, that is as thy own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, of the gods of the people that are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. Everywhere, brothers and sisters. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thy eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thy hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the peoples. And thou shalt stone him with stones, that he die, because he has sought to draw thee away from the Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Right. So basically this is something that he was saying when we go into the land, our own land, and this was prescribed because the Most High was just establishing the nation, and he didn't want, otherwise all the work he done to bring us out of Egypt would have been for naught if we allowed this to happen. But of course this is not something that we could do while we're in the land of our captivity, because if we were to actually kill anybody because they said something they shouldn't do, guess where you're going to wind up? You're going to wind up in jail. So I wouldn't take this literally in the land we're living in. Now, if we have our own land and that's what the Most High God wants, I hope that I'm not put in that position, but that's what it says. You know, because I don't want to kill anybody at any time. But if anybody is suggesting that we go and serve the Most High God, then I have no problem cutting them off from, you know, having anything to do with them, because I don't want to hear it and I don't want that negative, you know, influence trying to even come near me. So anybody have any comments on that? Okay. Oh yeah, it said it doesn't matter who. Right, so if it's your family, now that's a real dilemma, right? If your family, because I'm sure if you're one from a family and two from the city, you hear that negativity coming from your own flesh and blood. See how real this is? This is not a theoretical doctrine we're reading. This applies to real life. Because people are going to be put in that situation. So, how would you deal with that, Raphael?
Well, in this respect, when we look at the, let's say the 10 spoken laws, and those I say, thou shalt not kill, but it does really mean, I think, thou shalt not murder.
Correct.
Okay. So, but in this case, if you recognize blood or no blood, if that person transgresses without telling you to do, you are obligated to kill them.
That's what it says. But it's in the land.
In the land.
In the land. You can't do that. So what they say.
Right, if you do
Right.
that, then you go to
So here I have to say, do not try this at home. You know. So, but still, that's the law. Yes?
I'm gonna say in response to the question, because of course, we're dealing with this right now.
Let me turn this fan on. Okay, I have to repeat this.
So I'll just spoke loud, it's not hard. I'm gonna address that question and speak to it now because it's something that we are dealing with as we speak. We're relatively new in this way of life, we should grow up in history. Because the Most High called us from the four corners of the earth and drew us three from our family. And so our family, which we love very much and they love us very much, are still, doing other things.
Right.
And in other places. And they love us and, and our friends too, all of our friends. There's nobody except you are Mishpachah in Israel here. And in our family, it's limited, very limited. So, we just go about the way that the Most High set before us. Pray for our family members, pray all the time for our families. Turn from what they're doing and to come into this way. And just try to be conscientious so that we can be an example to them. So they can see us doing well, they can see us being good people, how we interact with them, so that they can maybe take a look and be like, wow, they seem like they might be better now. Because we used to do what they did. Hopefully they'll see a difference in us and us living a better life and come this way.
Right. But if they don't be disappointed. Don't be dismayed. It's just like,
It's hard not to be disappointed, I'm going to say that, but let the Most High's will be done.
yeah. Okay. Continue.
Devarim, chapter 13, verse 12. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is in the middle of thee, in the midst of thee. If thou shalt hear tell concerning one of thy cities, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to dwell there, saying, certain base fellows are gone out from the midst of thee, and have drawn away the inhabitants of their cities, saying, let us go and serve other gods which ye have not known. Then shalt thou inquire and make search, and act diligently, and behold, if it be truth, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in the midst of thee, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein, and the cattle thereof, with the edge of the sword.
Right. So basically, if you hear somebody gossiping, don't jump and believe, just because in somebody's word. he said, you know, you need to do a little investigation to confirm, to make sure that the allegations are correct. Because this is a serious thing. You don't just, without any proof, that, oh, they said that, and you just go and go.
Even if the truth is told, when it's something that's negative, even if it's true, because you want to keep peace.
Well, yeah. Well, Rabbi Shlomo wrote a whole lecture about the evil tongue. He wrote it years ago, and it's still valid today because there's a lot of truth to it. But you know, sometimes we like a little gossip. Sometimes we do. You hear something when somebody talks, you know, very low, your ears go, what? What is that? Where is that? I'm going to take it too long. So, am I taking too long? Oh, okay. All right, so basically, you know, if we hear a little gossip, usually it piques our attention. That's human nature. But what God is telling us here is, and what the Word is saying is, don't get involved, especially when you hear it's a negative. Because the negativity, although it might be juicy and everything, but it can get out of hand. And then you get wrapped up in something that you had no business getting involved with in the first place. But there are certain things, though, as ugly as it may be, that need to come up. Because if somebody's molesting a child, that's not the evil tongue. No, I'm just making a distinction. Well, whatever it is, but I'm saying, yeah, you're not going to go and gossip. I'm not saying go gossip behind the back. Somebody's doing this and that. But there are certain ugly things that have to come out. You can't just push it under the rug.
You confront the person face to face, that's how you eliminate it.
I hear you.
Common sense,
Yeah, no, I'm just making a distinction that, because some people believe that don't say anything evil is just like, you know, don't say anything. But I'm just saying that one have to be able to distinguish between when you need to say something and when, yeah, you're just being malicious with your gossip, you need to just zip it. So that's what I'm saying. But everything negative is not bad to be said. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 17.
Okay.
And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the broad place thereof, and shall burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof every whit, unto the Lord thy God. And it shall be a heap forever, and it shall not be built again. And there shall cleave not of the devoted thing to thy hand, that the Lord may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show thee mercy, and have compassion upon thee, and multiply thee, as he has sworn unto thy fathers, when thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep all his commandments, which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord thy God.
Amen. Thank you very much. So we're going to ask someone else, but first, what do you mean by a devoted thing? What is that? Anybody? Or anybody? This is the 18th verse. And we talk about, you know, after you go and destroy that place and gather all the things, right? But speak up so they can hear.
Nation, worship, they're devoted things. They don't keep.
Right.
The idols and
Right. Or even if it was gold and silver and all that thing,
if it look pretty.
because it was a devoted thing that also carries a spirit with it. I remember years ago when I was not as blessed as I am materially. I would find stuff, I'll pick up stuff, like somebody had a nice desk, I'll find it, I'll take it. Now, I'm not taking stuff, I don't know the history of it. Because you don't know what that thing was used for. You know what I mean? So, now I want some Hashem blessed, I'm going to get a new one. But of course, if I know it's come from like a brother or a sister, then I know it came from a good place. That I can take if I know it. But if I don't know, one day I was there talking to this guy, and this woman comes and she's talking some stuff, and then she's going to give me her card. And I'm like, no. I'm just like, I hate to do that, but I'm not taking, of course I had to quickly do scan, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to touch anything. I don't know, you know what I mean? No, maybe I'm being snobbish, I don't know, but there's certain things I'm not touching. And that's what they're saying. Don't take these devoted things into your bosom.
Deuteronomy 14, verse 1. Ye are the children of the Lord your God. Ye shall not cut yourself, nor make any boldness between your eyes for the dead.
Right. That was the rituals of the people. And I'm sure if you go to some tribes, you see they cut themselves off. And that's not Israel. Israel doesn't do that. And also, they don't talk about it here, but another place they say don't mark yourself, no tattoos and all that. Now, that's what I see. Tattoos all over people. Matter of fact, in somebody, you can see somebody's arm. You don't know what color they are. You can see their face and you know what race they are. But they got so much tattoo, you can't even recognize who this person is.
What is boldness between the eyes? You saw that?
I don't know if they shave themselves.
They said they do a ritual.
When
You know the Indians, they have this dot, sort of like this dot, the ashes and all that. So that's bold.
I don't know if it's a ball.
They shave. They shave
Right.
here.
I could see if we were a unibrow and then you shave yourself.
That's what I was wondering.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to give you. Yeah, but it's not bald because you already have no hair. Baldness, at least in my opinion.
No, some people have no hair.
Oh, he said that's your third eye.
Yeah. No, it's not. That's not what it's
Okay, well, that's what he's saying.
That's what I meant.
He's saying that's the inner world. But we're trying to. You may have a point. I'm not going to say you don't have a point.
But that's not the expectation.
Right, yeah, no.
Okay, perhaps so. That's his interpretation. He's entitled to that.
Nobody, she asked a question.
What is the question? And I said, I don't know. And I just gave you what he said.
I'm not saying. To show a test. So if you go do research and see, you can see how they were worshiping. If you had death, you would know when you were monk. You would have to shave your hair. And that's a symbol of death. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about, no, not between your eyes. They had a ritual that they did. If you had death, they would cut certain parts, and that's what they said. But we don't do.
Right. The ritual and even the tattoos and all that, that's not Israel. Yeah, but when you speak, if you don't mind, speak to that. We all can hear. So basically, on this one, we're here, an explanation might be a spiritual eye, we hear that it's not a spiritual eye. All I can say is further research to be done, and perhaps we can revisit that another time. In the meantime, for the interest of time, I know I'm being a little long-winded today, but this is the word of the Most High. Chief Rabbi used to say, if you're going to be here for a season, then feed the people. If you're going to be there for a reason, then teach the people. So we're trying to get some understanding of what this is about. So I'm only going to take maybe 15 minutes more, and then whatever we don't cover, Especially, we're not going to go over the part about Pesach and all that because we're all familiar with that. So, yeah, continue.
14 verse 2. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord has chosen thee to be his own treasure.
Segula.
Did he say Segula?
Yes.
Read that again. What verse is that?
14, Deuteronomy 14 verse 2. For
Okay.
thou art a holy
All right.
people
All right, let me see if I can
unto the
find
Lord
it in the Hebrew.
thy God.
All right, hold on a second. Kim Padush Ata Adonai Elohecha Ufka Bakar Adonai Liyut Lo Le'am Segula B'Hor Ha'amin Asher Ha'Pnei Ha'adam. So the word Segula is translated as what? As a treasure. You'll find other places where it's translated as peculiar. And some people might even say strange. But I don't go with the strange one because strange to me has a negative connotation. So peculiar and treasure is more appropriate in this case. Because a peculiar person is more like something special. And that's what distinctive, distinguish. That's different than strange. When you're strange, you're like a little off. But when you distinguish, when you're a distinguished person, you have a different air about you, a different way you carry yourself. And that's what God is saying. Don't carry yourself like the other people of the nations that are acting, you carry yourself with dignity and integrity. That's the standard that the Most High puts on his people. You are Segula, not Zagula. Sometimes people say Zagula. It's not a Z, it's an S. It's Segula. That's the model that we're striving for. Okay, continue.
Deuteronomy 14 verse 3. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which he may eat: the ox, the sheep, and the goats, the hart, and the gazelle, and the roebuck, and the wild goat, and the pegar, and the antelope, and the mountain sheep, and every beast that parteth the hoof, and have the hoof whole clove in two, and chew the cud among the beasts.
So what is a hoof? And I'm not a country boy, so I don't know about hoofs. We have anybody that know about hoofs? Anybody know about hoofs? I was raised at the farm. Can you break it down for us city boys? Come on. No, he's not a country boy. He knows about it. He knows about animals and the land. Let me tell you, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Don't take it as a negative. Because this book is telling us when we're agrarian people and all these laws. So back then, now I'm disconnected from it. But really, when you're in tune with nature and all that, you're in tune with Torah. My wife, yeah, she has a little garden and she takes very pride and she's very proud of it, and she has her own things that grow and she goes out and uses it. So oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention the cucumber. Did I mention cucumber? But anyway, you want to tell us about seriously, break down for us. No, I don't know if everybody knows. All right, she's showing the picture, but I can't see her. Can you break down? All right, so the hoof is what? It's like that.
It has a split, and without the split, it's all connected.
Right, so a horse has no split in his in his
does.
hoof.
Yes, he
Not
does.
the horse.
Yes, he does.
All right, can somebody tell me if a horse has a split?
He does.
He said he
He
doesn't.
doesn't chew the book.
His horse is
Or he doesn't have
is
to swim.
it's like this. That's why you ever see a horseshoe. Right, the horseshoe is like this. Whereas the pig's foot has that split. It has that split. But he doesn't chew the cud.
I can't show you the foot. I don't see it.
Okay? He eats everything. It's a piece of wood. Yeah, tell us what a hoof is. All right, we have somebody who can break it down for us. Good.
Actually,
Yeah, toes. There you go.
L on their toes. We have fingers, toes, they have hoofs. That's what it is. It's an extension of their foot.
Right.
And it's usually made out of bone.
Carrot.
I can figure that.
So it's a characteristic of that animal, so that if you know about animals, you can distinguish by the look of the animal. But herbivores have these. However, in the right, carnivores have paws, which we'll see is not. We can't eat those. But the pig will throw you a curve because he's got the split, but he doesn't chew the cud. So this is where you need to know about the pig's anatomy, or whatever animal.
Yes.
The camel chews the cud. He's always chewing something, but he doesn't have.
That's the difference between just chewing
He's always chewing something.
the bird and
Right, he has to go down and come back up.
but
Exactly.
bring it back. If it only goes down once and then comes out, then
You can't eat it.
Okay.
Very good.
That's to keep it simple, but
Comment.
I'm a National
I
Geographic
just
person.
have a comment. Is this what he just read?
You're an awesome
Clearly said the name of the animal.
well, it gives you the
And then-
name.
And then the other thing I just want to say, when in doubt, look at.
I agree with that.
That's your
But the thing is,
Clearly tell you.
I have to say, I don't know a lot of these animals, but I do know some because, you know, where I stay in the States. I go to the grocery store and I read the label. But all right, so let's try to speed it out. I know I'm taking a long time. But do we need to go into the details of that? So perhaps not, because no,
That was significant.
This-
The word was pig.
yeah, it did.
The
Yeah.
other one, it actually said, don't eat the pig.
Okay, he wants to read about the cud.
It's
So
fine, yeah, I'm saying.
come on.
Nevertheless, ye shall not eat of them that only chew the cud, or of them that only have the hoof.
Right. So they have to have a combination of the characteristics, not just one or two. Needs all three, I believe. There's three characteristics.
Two.
Two. It's golden-footed and
That's
has
one.
to chew the cud. Those are the two characteristics of a kosher animal.
Golden footed, only two? I thought there was three. Right. Anyway, I'll get back to you on that. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The camel and the hare and the roe and the rock badger, because they chew the cud, but part not the hoof, they are unclean unto you.
Okay, so now when we talk about the birds, right? And the birds, he said, all right, so we know fish, you have to have fins and scales. If you don't have fish and scales, you can't eat them. So if you have octopus, not kosher. Squid, shrimp,
What about duck?
duck. Well, that's birds. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to birds. That was the next category. But I wanted to deal with the fish. Fish.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So, catfish, no good. Tilapia, no good. Tilapia is good?
Tilapia has fins and scales.
They have fish and scales? They're just man-made.
Take it out, they LA.
They are.
They're farm raised?
But they're not good.
I don't know. I'm told you're not supposed to eat tilapia.
Because it's GMO.
You can eat?
Right.
You can
That's
eat? All right.
But it's from
Correction.
It's a
I didn't know what I was talking about.
It has fins and scales.
You see? No, he says tilapia has fins and scales like them all. So I'm outnumbered and I never said I knew about fish.
They say the
I don't eat them.
Not to eat
I'm not
them
eating them
for
anyway.
China.
But
They swim in that swamp and they
right.
have a-
But technically, you can eat grasshopper. I'll skip on that. You can eat the locust. I'll skip on that. You can eat them, and I'm gonna watch it. So.
But they do tell you there's insects.
No, it says you can eat insects. It says. Well, you want to read it for me what it says there? But anyway, regarding the birds, right? It did say in the Leviticus 11 chapter, they talk about, in the 21st verse, before you go into that, right? All winged, swarming things that go upon all fours are detestable unto you. Yet these may ye eat of all winged, swarming things that go upon which have joint.
They have to jump.
Right, for the birds, they have to have like a thigh,
They have to have a joint.
right? That's what Rabbi have been taught me. Whereas the duck doesn't have that. He's like, that's why he walks like this. He has that little stub of a leg. He doesn't have the thigh. So, and then also he's web-footed. But I'm not sure I find where it says web-footed, but that's what I was taught. That if it's web feet and it doesn't have that junk, that leg, I know, but I looked at it. I didn't find where it said web feet, but that's how the chief rabbi taught us. If it's a web-foot bird, don't eat it. Alright, so there's the contrast. Some people eat it, some don't. But I'm going to stick with what my teacher has taught me. Let's stick with vegetarian.
You can't eat birds that are predators.
No predators, no eagles. No eagles, no vultures. You can eat a turkey. Turkey. They're not predators. Wild turkey. No, you drink wild turkey. You don't eat wild turkey. All right, read about the locusts, then we're gonna wrap it up. So some people got to go, please.
And all the winged
Like
swarming
lunch.
things are unclean unto you. These shall he not be eaten. Of the wing. Sorry,
What verse you on?
that was 20.
What chapter?
14.
Chapter 14, verse 20?
Yeah. That's not it.
Okay. Of all winged things ye may eat, ye shall not eat anything that dieth of itself. Right? That's common sense. If it died, it was sick. You eat it, you might get sick too. Thou mayest give it unto the stranger that is within thy gate, that he may eat it, or thou mayest serve to a foreigner, for thou art the holy people to the Lord thy God. Now, all right, so I personally feel uncomfortable with that. If it ain't good enough for me, I ain't giving it to nobody. But that's what it says you can do, and if you did that, you're not violating the law. But my conscience tells me, if it ain't good enough for me to eat it, I'm not going to give it to a stranger. That's just me. All right. It doesn't say you have to give it to them.
That means you could raise a pig and you can give it to someone
Yeah, you
else.
could sell a pig.
That is what they
It's legal.
That
It's-
you give it to a stranger, but you can't eat.
Right. It's legal for you to raise pigs and sell pigs. You just can't eat it. But no, the carcass you can't eat. You can't touch the carcass. You become unclean until evening. So if you're raising pigs and you kill the pig, you're unclean until evening. Yes.
There's a kosher pig in Burma.
Oh, I like that.
The rabbi
Can you hear him in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
kosher pig in Burma, all the qualifications, and the rabbis had to decide whether or not they could eat it or not, and they decided you can't eat it, we don't have a tradition of eating it. Adding to the law.
There you go.
Kosher pig.
What made him kosher?
He was a kosher pig.
Because they probably
But-
fed him everything
No,
that
he
he
got
was
you
eating.
to cook.
No, all the
Don't
animals, all
you
the
cook.
qualifications, but he regurgitated.
Yeah. So in other words, he might have been a test tube baby or something that they made him.
He's a GMO, he
He's
ain't
not real.
he was no good twice already.
Why?
He was no good twice.
So he was what you call an anomaly. He was an anomaly. He was
And, he was no
you
good
know,
already.
but you're not gonna find that. So don't look, God can create anything He wants. Anything could happen. But this is telling you, don't do this. So let's not try to fight. Right, you don't have to eat meat, by the way. Except perhaps on Passover, it commanded you to have that. But other than that, you don't have to eat meat. All right, so did we cover everything? Some people want to go, some people don't want to go. So I'm going to say, let's eat something. And we could, brilliant. Did I tell you my wife was brilliant? There you go. You agree. All right, so with that, we say thank you for your attention and participation. And we pray the Most High will bless you this week and all the weeks to come and throughout. So with that, we wrap it up and say, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep His commandment, for that is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every secret thing into judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Shabbat Shalom. Amen. Now we have announcements and tithes and oh, he's ready to sing. He's coming up to sing. Oh, all right, you're going to sing that.
Anybody needs a type of vote, please raise your hand.